Hi everyone, it's great to see you all. I hope that you've had a wonderful week practicing on the recorder. We've learned so much over the past few weeks. We've talked about major scales, we know our solfege syllables, we've talked about tonguing and rhythm, we've learned a couple of songs, we've done a lot. This particular lesson, I want to focus on a new scale, and we'll do a number of other things as well. So the first thing about the do scale, quite easy. The do scale, as we discussed, is a major scale. Now, the do scale is always do. Whether I'm starting on D major, or C major, or F major, or G major, or E major, any note, really, is going to be do if it's a major scale. I want to teach you a new scale, and that's the La scale. Now, if you remember, in terms of solfege syllables, my half steps always occur between T and Do and Mi and Fa. Just remember that, because for the La scale, what comes after La? T. And what comes after T? Do. T and Do is always a half step. So for a major scale, the T and Do comes much later, from 7 to 8, right? However, still a half step is always on T to Do or Mi to Fa. That doesn't change for my minor scale or La scale. So a minor scale starts on La. We're going to play the D minor scale. Now the D minor scale shares the same number of accidentals as an F major scale. We call them relatives because they're related. And why are they related? Because they share the same number of accidentals. Now, think about this. If I'm telling you that a minor scale is a La scale because it starts on La, now what is La in F major? It's D. So, the La scale shares the same number of notes or accidentals as the Do scale. All I'm doing is I'm just starting on a different note. So whatever number of notes or sharps the F major has, so too does the D minor scale have. In other words, if I want to figure out what my relative minor of any major scale is, I'll just count up to La and I'll start on that note, but it'll have the same number of accidentals. F major has a B flat, and therefore D minor has a B flat. Let's play that scale, the D minor scale. So we start on D. Beautiful. Then we're going to an E. So that's a T, La T. Now we're going to an F, which is Do. Good. After Do is Re, which is G. Good. Then after A is going to be Mi. Then after A is B flat, which is Fa. And then I'm going to, after B flat is C, all right? And C is So, going up to the D, which is La. So that is the La scale. Let's play it really slowly, one note to the next. Take your time. Beautiful. Let's go up and then down. Okay, so we've just learned a D minor scale, or a minor scale, or a La scale. Just remember that the solfege syllables are exactly the same. I'm just starting on a La now instead of a Do for a major scale. Of course, you all will be practicing your major scales that you've learned, so continue on with that. The 2-octave C major scale is particularly challenging, especially when you go up up beyond the octave, where that high G and the A and the B, I'm having difficulty with it myself. I hope maybe you'll get it, but just continue practicing those high notes, these ones. So I'm still a little bit shaky. I need to practice, as I'm sure a lot of you do as well. I wanted to do a couple of breathing exercises incorporating tonguing and double tonguing. And we're going to transition from one note to another. We're going to stay in the minor scale of D minor. And of course, D minor is a law scale, different to the major scale. Now, what I wanted to do was, I wanted to play my A to my B flat. And that's quite a transition. So what I want to do is, I want to go from one note to the next, teeter-tottering back and forth, as I have a continuous exhale, and I'm going to do it legato. Try to make sure that your exhale is smooth and connected. Always be calm and settled. Let's try it from A to B flat. Now, in D minor, A would be mi, right? Because mi is the fifth note of the law scale, all right? D is la, E is ti, F is do, G is re, A is mi. All right. So just remember your solfege syllables for the minor scales. There's so many things to remember, but you just have to do it. All right, so let's try that. We're going from an A to a B flat. So A is mi, B flat is fa. This is in the la scale. Let's try it. Legato. How was your breathing? Was it smooth? Was it calm? Was it connected? Was there a little bit of a blurp in your breathing? Were you exhaling very quickly in certain places? Were there a little bit of flutters going on? Make sure that it's smooth. We'll try it one more time if there was any discontinuity. Let's try it one more time. A, mi, to B flat, fa. Make it smooth and legato. Release your shoulders and make sure that you're loose. Okay, I'm going to incorporate one more technique. Oftentimes, when we want to make sure that our notes are precise, we really over-accentuate our key changes in our fingering, so much so that we lift our fingers unnecessarily high. Of course, then you've got to travel a lot. So what I'm going to ask you to do is make those adjustments as slight as possible so that your fingers don't have to move as much. Let's try it one more time. Last time, legato. A to B flat, mi to fa in the D minor scale or the la scale. Go. Not bad. Now what I want to do is, I want to play the same note. Shall we do that same note? Or maybe what we'll do is we'll go up from the B to the C. And B to the C, or the B flat to the C, would be fa to C is, what is C? So, all right, so we've got B flat to C. Let's do that. And this time what I want to do is single tonguing. Da, 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 da. All right, let's try it. Connected, smooth breathing. Beautiful. I'm going to avoid exaggerated fingering where my fingers are lifted so high that they have to travel so much. Also, did you feel that your breathing stopped in between your tonguing? If you did, then you're probably not doing it as efficiently as you can. Even though you're now incorporating these does in between, I want you to feel like your breathing is continuous. This time what we're going to do is, instead of saying a duh, we're gonna do a ga, 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 ga. And let's see how that goes. Try to be more aware of that constant breathing. Go. Did that feel and sound a bit different to you? I'm sure it did. It definitely did for me. It felt like the ga was a little bit softer and slurred compared to the duh. I want to do one more consonant on the B flat to the C, which is the fa to the so. I want to try la, 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 la. Continuous breathing, make it smooth and connected. Be aware of that constancy and regularity in your breath. Let's try that, la, 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 B flat to C. And now, did you notice that the la was much more smooth than the duh or the ga? It sounded much more legato, almost like it wasn't even tongued. You can play around with your tonguing, incorporating different consonants to employ or produce particular kind of nuanced sounds. All right, excellent. I wanted to do one more thing, and this time I wanted to incorporate the double tonguing. Again, a wonderful exercise for breathing and transitioning. What's a hard note in the D minor or La scale? Well, I know that B flat to C was hard, we already did that, and A to a B flat was quite challenging as well. Maybe an F to a G, only because it's making sure that those right hand fingers go down as they ought to in the right place. Now, the F is do and the G is re. Just remember that. As in F major, F is do, but for the La scale, we're not starting on F, we're starting on D. And the third note of the La scale or the D scale, the D minor scale, is F. Remember, La 1, T 2, 3, do. All right, so let's try that. We're gonna do F and G with double tonguing. Make sure that your breathing is constant and even. Let's try that. With a dugga. Not bad. Let's try it with a diddle diddle. All right, let's try that. Diddle, 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 diddle. So make sure that your breathing is very smooth, all right? Let's try that, go. I must admit that I'm much more accustomed to the dugga dugga than the diddle diddle, so I'm gonna have to practice that. But it would be good for all of you to practice all of those different consonants and tonguing techniques. We have a beautiful 13th century French song, The Nightingale, that I wanted to look at. So far, we've taken a look at tonguing techniques, single tonguing, double tonguing, and I wanted to employ those techniques in this particular piece. We start on G, and it seems like it's in a G major scale. Of course, there is no F sharp, which we expect. So the mode of this particular piece is a little bit questionable. Of course, I have an idea of what it is, but we'll go into modes maybe at another time. At least for the time being, since there are no accidentals, we know that it's in C major, although not quite. And as I said, we'll go back into that and discover what it could be or what it should be. But for all intents and purposes, it is in C major because there are no accidentals. All right. So when we look at this piece of music, I want to first try a little bit of it in legato, meaning no tonguing. It's 3/4 time, which means that the half note gets 2 beats. So I'm going to count the first half note being 2 beats. I'm going to go 1 and 2 and. The next one is 3 and. The next one is 1 and 2 and. The next is 3 and. On the third bar, I have another half note, 1 and 2 and then the next note is a 3 and. You might be wondering, why are you counting ands? We'll get to it. Perhaps your answer will be there, your question will be answered when we get to bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully you'll have an idea as to why. Anyway, we're on bar 4, a half note, 1 and 2 and. The next one is 3 and. The next one, I'm going to clap it, is a half note, 1 and 2 and. The next note is 3 and. Bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 1 quarter note, 1 and. Next quarter note, 2 and. Next quarter note, 3 and. Now, our next bar includes an eighth note. 2 eighth notes, in fact. The first eighth note gets a 1. The next eighth note gets an and. Followed by a quarter note, 2 and, 3 and. So, that's why I count ands. I count ands to take into consideration those eighth notes, all right? So, it would be like this if I were to clap the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 quarter notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Paying special attention to those last 2 bars, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right, so make sure that your counting is even. All right, let's try it very slowly. Legato. All right, a little shaky, but not bad. Obviously, I need to practice. We all have to practice a little bit. Now what I want to do is, I'm going to do tonguing and see how that sounds. Let's do the next part, double tonguing. Okay, I was employing different tonguing techniques for this piece, always being mindful of my constant and even breathing. How was that? Not bad. Did you notice that the quality of the music changed depending on whether I played it legato or whether I tongued or double-tongued. Of course, what we'll always employ when we play music is a combination of all of these different types of techniques, whether it be legato or tonguing or double tonguing and so on. And we're going to play it one last time, and I'm going to incorporate different types of techniques that I feel work for me. And perhaps as you practice it on your own in the next week, you'll find a particular tonguing technique that works for you, that renders a particular sound that you like. So play around with it, but always be aware of that constant and even breathing. Let's try it one more time. That was not bad. Needed a little bit more practice. Of course, we've got a whole week ahead of us to explore all of those wonderful possibilities in terms of tonguing. I hope that you had a wonderful recorder rehearsal with me, as I did with you. We've learned a lot of music, and we've learned a number of new things. Hopefully you'll continue practicing. If you have any questions, make sure that you make comments below, and we'll try to help you out as much as possible. Continue practicing your major scales and your minor scales, and well, that one minor scale, D minor, make sure that you know the solfege syllables for every minor scale. So if I were to ask you what's the first note of the La scale or the minor scale, it would be La, and which is 1. What's number 5? It would be Mi. What's 6? That's Fa, of course. Things like that. You have to know them really quickly. Keep on practicing, and it will come along like no problem whatsoever. It's actually coming along. I hope that you're noticing a difference as well, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.